It's a tough job being the healer. You're often overly valued but underappreciated, and if anything ever goes wrong, you're the one who gets blamed. To top it all off, you probably won't even gain rank as fast as your damage-dealing friends. What a bummer. How's it going, everybody? Force here, and today I want to talk about how support players are kind of getting screwed with the current MMR system, the skill rating system here in Overwatch. Basically, in the competitive version of Overwatch, it's heavily favoring damage-dealing characters over support characters, with Mercy, who is often considered one of the most needed heroes in the game, being the one who is most negatively affected. So I want to talk you guys through what's happening right now and what you should know as you play your games. We've been seeing a lot of examples recently of support players ranking much lower than their damage-dealing teammates, and just as an example here for proof for you guys, I like to take a look at Cloud9, a Overwatch Pro team who all played together in a full 6-man on the first day of competitive play. Now, after they finished their placement matches, their support player ranked at 67, which is pretty good, right? I mean, that's like in the top 10%, top 5% of all players right now. It's pretty amazing. However, the rest of the team all ranked in the mid to high 70s, with Sure4, one of their really good players who's a damage dealer, getting rating 77, which was a full 10 levels above their support player. Now, just as a reminder, they all played the exact same games together. They had the same number of wins and losses, but their support player ended up getting 10 levels lower than most of the rest of the team. That's pretty strange, but that's just one example. You know, maybe it's an isolated incident. However, as we head on over to Master Overwatch, which shows you a lot of the rankings of many Overwatch players, only 6 of the top 100 players are support mains. The other 94 are all damage dealers or tanks as their primary characters that they're playing on a regular basis. So 6 out of the top 100 players in the game right now are support players, but that's it. Now, does that mean there's just a ton of terrible support players? No, what it actually probably means is that the rating system heavily favors damage dealers over the healers. So the problem appears to be with the skill rating system and how it's being calculated. Now, currently in competitive play, your skill rating is affected by 3 major factors. Number 1, if you win or lose, determining if you're going to gain rating or lose rating, and then by how much is determined firstly by how you compare to the opposing team, i.e. whether or not you're the underdog or you're favored, and then by how you perform. And that last part is what I like to focus on here. Blizzard takes into account various parts of your performance in a match to determine how much skill you gain if you win. So things like your number of kills and deaths, the damage and healing done, time on the objective, etc. Basically, all of the information you see in your stats page at the end of the match, including hero-specific information, like taking Mercy, for example, your assists, your resurrections, and your blaster kills. All of this is compared to the stats of the average hero on the map. So they take the stats of all heroes playing Mercy, and then depending on how you did compared to all other Mercies in the game, it decides if you're better than the average player to give you more skill rating. Now, in theory, this is a fantastic idea, because no matter how your team does, Blizzard is saying that your performance matters, and they want to reward you accordingly. However, in practice, it's negatively affecting support players, primarily Mercy, on teams that are doing well. So let's jump into why this is happening. Basically, if your damage dealers are doing well, there isn't as much for you to do. You'll have lower healing because they're killing the enemy and as such not taking as much damage, and you'll have a lower number of reses because they're not dying, so you won't need to res anybody. So what's going to happen is that if your team's doing well, you won't have as much to do, which means your end of game stats will be relatively low, which will end up resulting in you getting less skill rating for a win. And we've been seeing this time and time again with people who are consistently playing with a group of players. They're not leveling up as quickly as their tanks and their damage dealers. Now, as we mentioned, this primarily affects Mercy, whereas someone like Lucio or especially Zenyatta, they are consistently involved in actually assisting in kills and doing damage. Mercy isn't really doing that. At most, she's best utilized by healing, of course, and then damage boosting specific characters, following around someone like a Pharah or a Hanzo or a Widowmaker, for example, and then boosting their attack is typically considered more beneficial than her using her pistol, barring specific situations. So it kind of puts Mercy in particular in this weird situation where it is actually best for her if her team is doing doing poorly, because then you're healing more and then you're giving more reses. But at the same time, especially for those of you out there who solo queue, which I know there's a ton of you, if your team's doing poorly, there's a good chance you're probably going to lose anyways. So whether or not you're getting these great stats, it won't matter as much, because you might just end up losing. Or your stats might end up sucking, because if your team's doing poorly, they might not being helping protecting you or spraying out enough for you to guardian angel glide between multiple people, and you might just end up dying a lot and having shitty stats anyways. So Mercy's in this weird situation where it's actually best for the team to do poorly but still win, for you to actually get a good rating compared to the average Mercy player, if you will. It's just really strange the way the system is set up right now. I totally understand completely what Blizzard's trying to do. They're trying to reward you for playing well, but the issue is that the system can be too easily gamed and is heavily favoring damage dealers. People like Widowmaker, Genji, Tracer, Pharah, Soldier consist of most of the top 20, top 100 players in the game at the moment. Comps like Double Healer are going to be suffering. Now, it's popular because it wins games, but the healers get punished because the healing is split. So if you're going Mercy Lucio, both healers are doing less healing because one healer's taking up some of the slack, and as such, they're going to be getting a lower rating compared to other Mercies or Lucios who are solo healing games. Or double Lucios, the speed boosting Lucio is heavily punished and gets much less rating compared to the Lucio that ends up healing. Supports on teams that are doing well are punished because they get low stats. Honestly, at the end of the day, I think they should just focus on wins and losses to determine your skill rating, because the individual performance thing it's really just too hard of a thing to truly track. And it's really right now severely punishing, once again, Mercy players on teams that are doing well. You need a healer to win, okay? And if you're solo queuing and there's no other healer, you want to win over a loss at any point in time, obviously. But I think the takeaway here is that if you don't have to be the healer, you're likely to get more skill rating playing something else. So if you're a good player, it's easier to stand out and get above average stats on a damage dealer than it is on a healer. This is going to be a problem, because if this isn't changed, we're probably going to be seeing a lot less people playing healers if they know that they can rank up faster doing damage. Once more, look no further than Master Overwatch. The top 100 players in the game right now, only 6 of them are support players. Alright guys, that is going to do it for me here today. As always, I want to know what you think about this topic, what we talked about here. Do you believe the support players are getting screwed in the current skill rating system? And what do you think that Blizzard should do to change this? Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a fantastic afternoon, and until next time, I'll see you later.